hurt myself today to see if I still feel. I focus on the pain, the only thing that's real. The needle tears a hole, the old familiar sting. Try to kill it all away, but I remember everything.
Cool Geeks Tribunal, eternal, forever.
Don't you wish you were?
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back, Cool Geeks Tribunal. Yo, let's dive right into it. Cups up. Yeah, man. Shout out to the whole tribunal. DC might have to be renamed Dead Comics instead of Detective Comics because they seem to not have a clue as to what to do with their main characters. So let's get this straight, right? Henry Cavill fired. When we just about a month ago with Black Adam thought he was just rehired because it was rumored that he had already been fired, but it was never confirmed. And they put him at the end of Black Adam, getting everybody excited and hyped, thinking we're going to get Henry Cavill, who many of the fans love and have been waiting to see a Man of Steel 2, which we never got, go up against The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's Black Adam. It was like DC, could have had, made some traction, it seems. For all of the failures and the flaws of Justice League, from Joss Whedon's version to Zack Snyder's the Snyder cut, which was like 4 hours long, which was a redo. We had Batman v Superman, which was a dud. There was just a dub on that. What are they doing over there? It's just like every time you think you about to get something going, they hit you with the pump fake. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand how you trying to, you know what they remind me of, to use a basketball reference? Back in the 90s when Charles Smith was supposed to go up for a shot and he just kept pump faking and never letting that shot go, when playing for the Knicks. These guys don't really seem to get it. And it's pretty sad, to the point where how many lives does DC have? They got to be the ultimate feline. Is it that Superman could really run his course and that's it? Could they really kill Superman? They more dangerous to him than kryptonite. If you knew you were bringing James Gunn over, there was a changing of the guard, and people just got excited about having Henry Cavill back, why snatch him away in such a way that almost feels cruel? It almost feels kind of cruel to fans what's going on right now. We really trying to hang with DC Comics, but because we've loved these characters forever, but it's really, kind of it's tiring, all of the back and forth. When Henry Cavill took on the role as the Man of Steel back in 2013, right? it was a pretty good movie. It was something that, you know, it was an interesting take. You know, the graphics were good. It was just not a perfect movie, but it was really good. You know, the way it was shot, the way they touched on certain things, it felt like Superman was back. I didn't think Superman Returns was terrible, but it was definitely lacking something. It felt more like they were trying their best to recreate what Christopher Reeve and Gene Hackman had done back in the late 70s with the original Superman, the movie, and, you know, from the Richard Donner cut, and his directorial take on the Man of Steel. But that time had passed, and it was just, you know, Superman Returns not quite right. So we finally get Henry Cavill, and it's like every single time we think it's about to be on, it's really off. Again, Man of Steel, that was cool. It could have been a follow-up. You know, I think he deserved a follow-up to his own movie in regards to that. But Joss Whedon's Justice League, the Snyder Cut being 4 hours long, as good as it was, but it wasn't the original. So we already had a bad taste in our mouths with the Justice League. To what else did they do? They did you know, and then that was pretty much it. And then there's just been rumor after rumor after rumor. So now we think it's about to be on, because we've always loved like Henry Cavill playing a role, even though the movies weren't up to par. And of course, there's always the mustache incident from Justice League, where like that fat lip that Superman had, so the editing was poor. Maybe, you know, as poorly as this whole thing is being done, as poorly as I believe the fans are being treated with this whole situation, maybe James Gunn is actually putting people out of their misery, because he's looked at the mess that this whole thing has been, because it's feeling like a colossal waste of time. From buying the DVDs, the Blu-rays, to just spending the money, going to see the movies in the theaters, to sitting down and watching it and seeing how it's been so up and down, with more downs than ups. It's maybe time is up. Maybe it should be up, you know, and it sucks that, you know, Henry Cavill was like, his time was wasted as well. Now, I don't know whose time was wasted more, us or his. You know, he was on The Witcher. I don't know if he left that role because he was trying to concentrate on Superman, thinking he was going to be Superman, and now they pull the rug from under him. But it's just a real sucky way this whole thing is going. So what now? You know, James Gunn has done a great job with Guardians of the Galaxy with Marvel, but is the budget right from DC? Do they have all of the other people in place? There's no Kevin Feige for DC. So what's the direction? There doesn't seem to be any direction. Will James Gunn be to DC what Kevin Feige has been to Marvel, where it's allowed for a cohesion? You know, even with Marvel's latest, you know, the movies that they've been pumping out lately that have come under a lot of criticism, it's still better and more cohesive than what we've gotten out of these DC movies, with the exception of the Batman and the Joker. If James Gunn don't get it right, I think that that's it. I don't think that the fans can really take another setback with their favorite characters. I think that, you know, they may have to just put it to rest. It makes no sense that within the same year in 2016, you had an Ant-Man movie Well, no, it was 2015. But in any event, around the same time, you had an Ant-Man movie that's better than a Batman versus Superman movie with a guest appearance by Wonder Woman. That was supposed to smash everything. That within itself, just by name notoriety alone, like could have probably, should have been on par, if not above the Avengers. They're going to have to really, really figure it out. It seems like now The Rock, he's unfollowed DC. They canceled the third movie for Wonder Woman, which is probably a good idea because, yes, the first one was really good, but 1984 was trash. And when you fall off that badly, I think it's best to just cut your losses. So they probably did the right thing with that. This whole thing just it probably is the right thing to do, is to just scrap it, get rid of all of them, Aquaman, just almost pretend like the DCEU never existed, and just go DC Studios with a totally fresh take, and let's see where James Gunn goes with this, because he did a movie called Brightburn that was essentially Superman without calling it Superman, and it was about a little boy that, he came down and he had like all of the Superman powers, a Superman upbringing, but he was like, well, let's put a horror twist to him. And I'm wondering if this is where James Gunn kind of wants to go. But he got to be careful. You don't want to go too far left, and then you start to alienate people, and then you become, just another tragic story in DC cinematic history. You got to bring whatever swag you have that he had going on with Guardians of the Galaxy and Marvel. Gotta find a way to get that going over here. I don't know if you need to holler at whoever's running it, is it Jim Lee or whoever it is that's running DC. They need to collaborate and get the feeling, the core values of these characters. If it's a Superman movie, it does not need to look dark as if it was a Batman movie. Batman, let him be dark, but know when to lighten it up. Know how to bring Robin into it in a respectable manner. Connect the Batman and the Joker, Joaquin Phoenix and James Patterson. I think that's his name. James Patterson's Batman. Whatever's working, roll with that. See where you can fit your vision in around that, because people love the Joker. People anticipate in the Joker part 2. But the rest of this, you just gotta pretend like it was probably the cinematic version of the New 52. You tried it, you tried to do a little something, didn't really work out, and just scrap it, But you really can't treat the fans like this, where they're, expecting this thing, you're getting hyped and excited, clapping, standing ovations in the theater, and you just scrapping. Now, maybe they can go along with the fact that, hide behind the fact that the numbers don't seem right for Black Adam. So they were like, well, it was going to be a failure anyway. Maybe, but I think that there were enough fans that would have came out for it, especially if you would have, I don't know, maybe tweak Shazam somehow, but Shazam probably needs to go too. So just toss all of it. It's a shame that The Rock has to get swept up in this, because I really did enjoy Black Adam. Suicide Squad, trash. Man, they better start drawing some inspiration from those animated movies, because those smack, like those slap, like they hit the way they supposed to, and they got to figure out a way to transition that into the live action movies. It's just totally off. Bring in new questions, bring in new characters like the Question, give him a movie, get some unknown actors to play him and really just make a really good movie, a solid flick, and continue to build off of that. Christopher Reeve wasn't known when they made Superman Part 1, but now that's all he's ever been known for, and all, for the most part, what his whole career will ever be associated with is Superman. Michael Keaton, people know Beetlejuice and Mr. Mom and all of that, but when he became Batman, nobody, I don't think, could see him as Batman. Tim Burton had the vision. Get somebody, with minimal, notoriety, and let them blow that character up and make it what it is. And I think that was kind of the formula, part of the formula, what Marvel has done with their movies. Chris Evans, yeah, he played the Human Torch, but I don't recall him in anything else. But now he's Captain America. He killed that role. Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. Yeah, he was the man for a while, but when he got caught up with the drugs and going to jail and all of that other stuff, he needed to rebrand himself, build himself back up. Boom, Iron Man. It worked. Now all anybody thinks is Iron Man. Nobody thinking about him in Tropic Thunder occasionally. And, back when he was in Weird Science as this, crazy teenager, like nobody's thinking about that. Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man. Sherlock Holmes, nah, Iron Man. So same thing I think for Mark Ruffalo. We know he's done some other flicks, but Bruce Banner, the Hulk. So I think that DC needs to, Marvel and DC have a history of biting off of each other anyway, and they've been doing this all the way back to the comics, going back to like 30s, 40s or whatever. Might as well do it with the movies as well. You try to build up the DC movies too fast. You try to run through these characters too quickly. Take your time. Make people care about the characters. Yes, we already know about Clark Kent, Superman, Bruce Wayne, Batman, Princess Diana as, Wonder Woman and everything like that. But still, take time with the origin stories. Go a good 7 years before you try to put them all, in one movie and just rush it because you want to compete with what Marvel is doing with the Avengers. Taking their time with established characters. Thor, Captain America, Iron Man. You get like sequels of individual movies before you ever put them all together. The Hulk had his own movie before they were able to bring Spider-Man into the fold. You got to take time. Doctor Strange, he had his own movie. He was never really a household name. What blew Iron Man up? Iron Man was always kind of like B plus ish sort of character on in the comic books. But when Robert Downey Jr. and they made that movie right, all of a sudden he became the face and was challenging Spider-Man as the face of Marvel. There's ways of doing it. Slow down. You know what I'm saying? Be the tortoise, not the hare, and win the race. So that's my take on what it is. Colossal waste of time. How do y'all feel? Are they actually, has this firing, as upsetting as it is about Henry Cavill no longer being Superman, a waste of his talent and his look as the character? But if we could take a moment to slow down and really think about it and not move the way DC moved as fans, maybe, just maybe, it actually is really the right thing to do for the franchise, the character, the fans, everybody involved. And we might get a good product. But I think that right now they got to get it right from here on out. Otherwise, it should be a wrap. DC gonna have to just fold it up and that's it. Animated movies or bust. Well, that's it for me. Cool Geeks Tribunal. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like I always say, like us if you like us, subscribe for the vibe. I'm out. Cups up.
Within us all live a Superman. Within our souls to survive. Don't you wish you were a Superman? Or don't you wish you were a Superman?